Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the NASCAR Heat 5 Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day. Today we have racing in all four series, the Dirt Series, the Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. But first we have some breaking news. Silly season is now getting underway. Hendrick Motorsports announces that they will bring Ryan Blaney to the team for the upcoming season. Blaney has spent only half a season at McLaren and is already planning to jump ship to HMS. HMS is yet to announce who Blaney will replace, but rumors are that both Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott are considering a move away from the team if performance continues to struggle. There you have it, the big news. Elliott and Larson both could potentially be leaving Hendrick Motorsports at the end of this season. So stay tuned for that. I will have a lot of news. I mentioned earlier that there's going to be a lot of Hendrick Motorsports news on the way. And as of right now, it looks like I and Alex Bowman are going to remain at HMS next season. We'll have to wait and see what happens, though. Anything can happen. But we were now here in the Dirt Series for the NASCAR Legends Series, of course, where I go up against NASCAR Legends as well as some content creators and a few of the guys that have done some tremendous paint scheme work for myself here in the past as well. So having some fun here at the Charlotte Dirt Track. And actually, I was not a fan of this racetrack whatsoever. I was actually having a horrendous performance here in the Charlotte Dirt Track now, and you can see that on display right here now as we came through onto lap 3, and I was only running about P15, and positions get shuffled around so much here at the dirt track because everyone is just all over the place. The AI is very crazy when it comes to this racetrack. As I was trying to make a pass here on Jeff Gordon, like I said, though, everybody was all over the place, so it was a up and down race for us. Now, as we come through a little bit later towards the halfway point, I'm just running right into the side of Jeff Gordon right here now. I'm not wasting any time trying to work my way through the field, of course, but it was definitely a rough one to say the least here now as I came through across the line with 7 laps to go on the stage, and now we're only up into P12. I was now working on Kyle Busch, trying to complete a pass on him as we went down into turns 1. Ryan Newman was once again in position to win. This time, though, he was under pressure from both Travis Brown as well as Kyle Larson. Now with 4 laps to go, Kyle Larson leading the way out of turns 4, but Newman was all over the back of him, putting up a ton of pressure, and sure enough, now as we came through to 2 laps to go, Newman back out in front as I'm battling Kyle Busch for that last spot inside of the top 10, and now we come through to the final lap, and Ryan Newman once again is now going to win 4 for 4. So 4 races complete in the series, 4 wins for Ryan Newman, and now he is obviously locked in the playoffs as I'm side by side with Jeff Gordon trying to get into the top 10, but it's not going to happen as we exit turns 4. We're going to have to instead settle for an 11th place finish here in the Freightliner 100. So, overall, a good result for us. I guess a decent result. I'm not a great dirt racer, so I was pretty happy with that. Kyle Larson second, Travis Brown, David Schildhaus third and fourth. Then you have Jeff Gordon there in the top 10. But of the content creators, Schildhaus and Travis Brown the best, as you got Michael Cozy Jr. there in P15. He was up inside the top 10, but then he kind of fell down towards the end now, as you saw him all the way outside of the top 10 there in P15. So a rough day for him as he's trying to rebound towards the playoffs. Now we come through into the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series race here at Texas Motor Speedway, though. As you guys know, every time we have a truck race, we have a subscriber in the truck for us. And this time out, we had Jacko G in the truck for us here today. Now, as unfortunately, we failed inspection, so we actually had to start at the back of the field for this one. So we knew that we had a lot of work in front of us here to get a good result. So here we are at the back of the field. A couple more trucks failed inspection as well, so we actually did move up a row, at least from last row to the second last row here as we got underway. But obviously you can see the task at hand, a lot of ground that he would have to make up if he wanted any chance at all at moving his way forwards to get a good finish. Every time we come to Texas, though, we have a very, very strong result at here, at least in the truck series. Usually we're a race win contender, so it was a little bit disappointing that we were starting at the back. You see 4 wide through the middle on this opening lap here. Jacko not afraid whatsoever to be aggressive here at Texas Motor Speedway, but of course, there was really no chance at all that we were going to be able to pull off a race victory here, as he was down on the inside line trying to make that work in his advantage. But you can see he was moving his way through the field, honestly, very, very quick. So he had a lot of speed in this number 77 G Fuel truck. It just wasn't looking great, of course, in terms of the timing that we had, and we come through towards the final lap of this race, and now he's up the inside of the 98 of Grant Enfinger. Actually put Enfinger in the wall there, trying to get in front of him now, but I mean, we all both kept it straight here as he came through turns 3 and 4 for the final time, and it was still going to be a decent result actually now, as he was going to come through out of turns 4 down the front straightaway to still at least rebound to a top 10 finish in the SpeedyCash.com 400 here at Texas Motor Speedway. P8 there in the race, but of course doesn't do much for us in terms of the playoff situation, but nonetheless a very strong rebound there from Jack OG as Ben Rhodes picks up the race victory. So a race win for him, putting himself inside of the playoffs. And actually we go to Texas Motor Speedway in the Cup Series as well in this episode, so keep that in mind. Every time we come to Texas in the Cup Series, I never really have a good race, so it's really down to if it stays long. If we get a bunch of short runs, I have no chance at Texas Motor Speedway, so I was hoping that it was going to stay long in that race. But we come through now into the Xfinity Series here at Michigan with Paul Menard behind the wheel, and actually a similar situation. He started at the back of the field once again, just like we did in the Truck Series. So he had a lot of work to do here at a track that's even tougher to pass, at least in NASCAR Heat 5, than it is compared to the Truck Series at Texas Motor Speedway. So Paul trying to work his way forwards here as he goes down into turns 3, making some 3 wide, even some 4 wide moves in here and there if he needed to do that now as he came through out of turns 4. Just making that inside line work as he actually goes 3 wide in the middle, makes some contact with the 5 of Matt Mills as he's splitting through there, going 4 wide, I believe, there through the tri-oval now. So he was moving his way forwards really quickly, really well, once again, just like we were actually in the truck race. But once again, it was one of those situations where there just wasn't enough time to get themselves up in the mix. So we come through a little bit later. He was now passing the 68 of Brandon Brown. He was closing in towards the top 10, but it didn't look like the timing was going to allow that to happen. So we come through now towards the end of this race here as he went down into turns 1 up the inside of the 39 of Ryan Sieg as well. He's going to try and pass that 36 of Alex LeBay, makes a pass on him as well. And then we come through now to the final lap of this race out of turns 4 down the front straightaway. Once again, just like the Truck Series, a solid rebound to say the least now as he came through to cross the line right behind that 11 there of AJ Allmendinger, and we managed to finish inside the top 10. And I accidentally changed the name not to Paul Menard but to my own name, but of course we still know it is Paul Menard behind the wheel there of that number 77 Menards Camaro. Just ignore the fact that it says Gary Owen there as you see the rest of the finishing order here on your screen. So overall a solid day for us here in Michigan there as you see JJ Yaley at the very bottom of the field in that number 89 Chevrolet Camaro. So now we're going to come through into the Cup Series race here once again at Texas Motor Speedway, just like the Truck Series was here. So very excited to get going here and honestly just get this track out of the way because we don't have to come here in the playoffs, as well as in the next episode we actually go to Pocono, and that's the only one. We don't got to do no doubleheader or anything there. So we're going to get Texas out of the way real quick early on in the season, just like we are Pocono as well. So we come through down this back straightaway. The car felt pretty good, and down the front straightaway we crossed the line with a 29.932, quite a ways off the goal like we usually are here in Texas. And for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500, we qualify in the 21st starting position. So clearly we got some work to do, and every time we come to Texas, our short run speed is really bad, and we always just have to hope for a long run car. So Denny Hamlin though on pole, joined by Alex Bowman, our teammate there on the front row with him. Chase Elliott up there in the top 10, fresh off the news that there is a chance that both him and Kyle Larson could be on the way out of Hendrick Motorsports at the end of the season, and not because they're getting forced out, just simply because they want out now. So definitely something to keep in mind in the coming episodes here, as I am going to have more news on what's going on with the future of Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, if they'll be staying with HMS or if they are going to be leaving HMS, but definitely a lot of stuff to stay tuned for. Alright boys, I don't know what the idea is coming into today, but hopefully we can have a good result. I really don't know what to say. Let's just go have a good one today though. There you hear myself on the radio to the team here as we're getting ready to take the green flag for the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 here from Texas Motor Speedway. You see that we actually had 2 drivers now starting at the back, and that is Austin Dillon, who failed pre-race inspection, and Chase Briscoe, who crashed during qualifying. So both him and the 3 car at the very back of the field here as we get ready to take the green flag. On the outside alongside the number 42 of Tyler Reddick. It was not a good qualifying effort for ourselves as we start in the midfield, but but now the green flag is out for the Texas O'Reilly Auto Parts 500, and we are underway here for what is one of the longest mile-and-a-half races on the season here. Texas Motor Speedway, a very unnecessarily long race to say the least here now, as we go down into turns 1. Keselowski up our inside. He's been really the face of Stewart Haas Racing so far this season. He was off to actually a very rough start, but then he picked up a victory at Richmond, and then he's been doing very strong ever since then. Now, as I'm getting aggressive here, 3 wide on the outside as we go down into turn 3, I thought, you know what, if we're going to be forced to the top, we might as well just try and make it work the best we can instead of just trying to force ourselves down to that inside. But unfortunately, as we came through to complete the first lap here, it really wasn't working like I had hoped. We were making ground up here, but the guys on the inside were also making up a bunch of ground on myself, so we really weren't gaining much overall here as we came through out of turns 2 side by side with that 0-2 of Eric Jones. Now, as I'm going to try and slide down in front of him, but unfortunately Cole Custer was so slow that I couldn't get that opportunity to jump down, so we're still stuck here on the top. Eventually I would get down though behind Austin Cindric as we came through to start the 3rd lap. Now up the inside of Cole Custer as we came through out of turns 2, and we are going to be able to get past him just about, and sure enough we would get clear of him. We would pass Zane Smith, and then we were up the inside of Eric Jones in that 0-2 car here as we went down into turns 1, and we passed him as well. So now up to 17th place, but then here comes William Byron in the 88 Liberty University car. He would get past myself, and now I'm trying to just kind of stay in behind him and follow him through the order as well. Here as we were up now the inside of Christian Eckes as we go down towards turns 1. Eckes had a very strong start to his rookie season here in the Cup Series, but ever since then has kind of fallen off, and now Sam Mayer I think is really closing the gap to him in the Rookie of the Year battle as I'm up the inside there and passing now the 99 of Sam Mayer as we exit turns 4 sideways there. Bubba Wallace now gets up my inside. We had a bit of a moment last episode with Bubba where we made some contact. He ended up crashing, and then he actually was 3 wide right there, forced out in the middle, and that allowed Larson to get past him. And then next thing you know, I passed Chase Elliott using the outside, and then we get up the inside of Tyler Reddick into turns 3, and now we are going to move up into the 12th spot here as we come through out of turn 4, and then we waste no time on making a pass on the number 16 of Justin Haley there. So we pass him, and then a little bit later now, lap 13, we actually drove away from those guys, but Daniel Suarez for the Go-On Racing car actually ran myself down. I let him go into turns 1. Now there's trouble up ahead though. Austin Cindric goes crashing into the outside wall. Well, clearly he blew a tire or something. Caution comes out, and then my car actually gets into the back of the 4 of Haley Deegan just a little bit, and I immediately knew that that was probably going to mean that once we get going here for this restart, the car is not going to take off whatsoever. So that was, of course, a little bit of a concern here as you see the rest of the current running order on your screen. So, I mean, a solid start nonetheless for us as we were able to work our way up into P11, but unfortunately, like I said, we know we don't have short run speed, so I was a little bit disappointed that we had that caution. So now we'll get ready to go green though from P11, just where we came into the pit lane as well, right behind that number 4 car of Haley Deegan. And sure enough, as we get through the gears, you can see the car does not take off whatsoever. So I pull it to the left, but I look behind myself in my rear view mirror, and some other cars had the same issue. Larson and Bubba Wallace both did not take off very well. They still take off better than myself, but definitely we could have lost a lot more positions than we actually did right there. But fortunately, those guys behind us also had really poor restarts. So we only lose maybe, 4 or 5 positions or so. So as we go down into turns 3, Elliott on my outside, Noah Gragson currently leading the way over Denny Hamlin. He was able to take the lead there. Now as we come through out of turns 4, the less than 10 laps to go already here in this first and opening stage from Texas Motor Speedway. And now it was looking like we probably weren't going to be able to get stage points because we were losing ground. Bubba Wallace, he was continuing to march his way through the field. He had a very strong car in Darlington. Some bad luck put him in the 30s after some strategy and whatnot. But now I would actually end up getting passed by Matt DiBenedetto, and we cut straight through to the final lap because after I got passed by DiBenedetto, that was it for the rest of the stage. They all drove away from me. I'm running here in P16 as we came through out of turns 2 down the spike straightaway for the final time. Denny Hamlin actually took the lead back from Noah Gragson, so he was going to come through to win this first and opening stage as we go down into 3 and 4 for the final time. Austin Dillon behind us says actually I make a mistake there, clip that apron as we come through out of turns 4. A little bit of a slip up, and then actually getting to the outside wall on the exit of turns 4, making it even worse. But fortunately we hold on there and cross the line for 16th place in the first and opening stage. So a very, very rough result here in stage 1. If it would have stayed long, if we would have kept it green to the end of the first stage without that caution, we probably would have been up inside the top 10, probably could have got up to about maybe 7th, 8th or so, but of course that didn't quite work out in our favor. And now we're going to come into the pit lane for 2 cans of fuel as well as 4 fresh tires and get ready to go green for the start already of the second stage here. As Austin Cindric did DNF, by the way, under that caution that he brought out earlier where we saw him slamming into the outside wall. So now we're going to get ready to go green from P16. No positions lost or gained on the pit lane there under the pit stop. So side by side with Anthony Alfredo and that number 21 Dude Wipes car for Wood Brothers Racing. Now stage 2 is underway, and it is time now here on Texas Motor Speedway to get amped. There you have amped from Texas Motor Speedway in the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 now on this third lap, running in the 15th position. Look who's out front, the 23 of Bubba Wallace. He's actually been in position to go for wins at this specific racetrack before in the career mode. Bubba and 2311 racing both still, though, without their wins in their career at all. So I was continuously trying to move my way through the traffic. We were now up the inside of Alex Bowman, and as I make the pass on Bowman, he actually blows an engine down the front straightaway. Our Hendrick Motorsports teammate is now had an engine failure. The caution comes out right away. NASCAR does not hesitate whatsoever to throw a caution on that one, as they, I guess, thought that he was in a dangerous spot to be losing an engine, as he will be coming into the pit lane. Now, will he be out of the race? My guess would be, of course, he would, because he just blew an engine. Now, as everybody, though, is going to be staying out, other than, of course, that 48 of Alex Bowman. Now, as we're going to be P14 as we get ready to go green once again, though, on the outside line. That was starting to already get frustrating for myself here. Now, as we're going to launch right behind that 21 of Anthony Alfredo. And I mentioned that Bowman is probably going to be out of the race. No, Bowman was actually still in the race. So he just blew an engine, but he remains in the race here now, as they just came in and threw a new engine real quick in the car, and they are back underway now. I mean, that helps him, of course, now, as we've had so many different winners this season that now we don't have a lot of spots left open for points. So it gets closer and closer race after race, it feels like, because we keep having a new winner. I think we only have 4 spots open on points right now, and we still have a good chunk of races to complete before this regular season comes to a close, and we still have quite a few drivers that we expect to win who haven't won, like myself, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. All of Hendrick Motorsports has yet to win, and there's 4 cars right there that would take up the 4 spots in points. And then we, of course, have some Stuart Haas drivers like Chase Briscoe who hasn't won, maybe even Haley Deegan as well, or even the leader of Bubba Wallace potentially. So there is a lot of drivers. The 12 of Daniel Hemrick, another one. So there's a lot of guys that we expect to win, even the McLaren drivers. So it's going to be interesting right down to the end. We've had a lot of different winners, and I think it is going to continue here as we come through now out of turns 4. Now 3 wide right here in front of us now as it settles down to 2 wide, but now I take the opportunity. I make a 3 wide myself with 13 laps to go in the second stage. By the way, do keep in mind that if it stays green here, we will have to make a green flag pit stop likely now, so stay tuned on that here as we come through out of turns 2, moving ourselves into the top 10. So we definitely have top 10 speed here at Texas Motor Speedway, which is always just a step in the right direction for this 24 team and Hendrick Motorsports overall now, as it's been a rough season, and we've been talking about quote-unquote a rough season for us. We're 4th in the standings. It's not been a bad season. It's just been an off season compared to what we're used to, but nonetheless, 4th in the points. We're having a good season now, as we would also pass the 21 of Anthony Alfredo and move up into 9th place. But now as we came to the lap 17, Matt DiBenedetto in that number 10 car had actually run me down there in that Smithfield Ford Mustang, so he would go up the inside here as we came through the 7 laps to go in stage 1. I actually let off the throttle, let him go up the inside, and I was realizing that it was actually going to be pretty close here on field, so I was definitely keeping that in mind now. But based off of what I was looking at, we were about a lap and a half to almost 2 laps short now as we came through on lap 19. I make a bit of a mistake there, slip up on the exit of the corner after clipping the apron. That opens the door for Kyle Busch to go up my inside here as we come through down the front straightaway. So 5 laps to go in the stage, and now we're going to drop back down into 11th place. 4 laps of field, so we're not going to make it to the end here because I was about now at this point a whole lap short, and I still wasn't going to be able to save enough. So on lap 20, I make a mistake there, and now we're into the side of the 18 of Kyle Busch. Both of us sideways. We both save it, fortunately. But now the pit stops were starting to actually get underway. So on lap 22, coming to 2 laps to go on the stage, I decide we're going to have to come into the pit lane this time by. Bubba Wallace still leading the way, but now he comes into the pit lane, and we're going to, of course, join him in the 10 of DeBenedetto. The 14 of Briscoe, he stays up now, so we're going to get slowed down. And actually, as soon as I come into the pit lane, I start running out of fuel right there, and it says we were speeding into the pit lane when I was not speeding at all. And I'm going to show you what happened right here. So I just got a penalty for this. So it is a 45-mile-per-hour pit lane. You can see right here, I'm going 43, and then as soon as I hit the line, it went to 46. I was not on the throttle whatsoever, and what caused this was the car running out of fuel. It sputters when you run out of fuel, and the speed fluctuates. So it was really the worst time possible for this to happen, and it fluctuated from 43 to 46. There was no in between. It just went 43, and as soon as it hit the line, it hit 46. And all of a sudden, we finished stage 2 in 38th after coming out of the pit lane, but it gets worse. So drivers like Alex Bowman, who won the stage, stayed out. He never pitted. So now all of a sudden, Bubba Wallace, he gets the lucky dog, by the way, but everybody here, you see, I mean, it's a mixture of drivers pitting, drivers staying out, but the fact that not everybody is pitting means we cannot even take the wave around. So now, all of a sudden, we are going to be trapped 1 lap down after that happened. And I mean, in the dumbest way. That was so, the timing was terrible because I mean, I had nothing to do with the car speeding up there, and that was extremely frustrating, and the bad luck continues right there. There was nothing I could do. I was off the throttle, not speeding up, and the car just, when it sputters, the speed goes all over the place, and that gets us penalized there. So I think that's the first time I've ever gotten a speeding penalty that was quote-unquote out of my own control. So now we're back underway for the start of this 3rd and final stage, and now we have 30 laps to go or so, or 29 laps to go because we are 1 lap down. And the 14 of Chase Briscoe is now out in front. Alex Bowman picked up the stage victory. Bubba Wallace, who probably has the fastest car here, is now all the way at the back of the field. So now, keep in mind, Bubba is back on the lead lap because of that lucky dog, but now we are racing for the lucky dog position. So we have absolutely no time to waste because usually we do get a caution or two in this 3rd and final stage of Texas Motor Speedway every time we come here. So we got to get on the move as quick as possible here to get into position to be in that lucky dog spot here. As I was giving Bubba a bit of a break, we know how fast that 23 car is, so I wasn't trying to mess with him whatsoever, but he decides to force it 3 wide in the middle, and I actually thought, you know what, I'm going to follow him because that 23 is very, very fast. I'm going to go where the fast car is going. Unfortunately, right here, we're 3 wide in the middle, and it's not really going anywhere now, as Daniel Suarez, another guy that's fast, got caught a lap down here. So we're going to go back up the inside, though, of the 23 as we exit turns 4, and on this first lap here, we really don't make up a lot of ground now as we come through to make it almost 4 wide there, but then they have a bit of a check up the 88 and the 21 got together or something, and they checked up, and now all of a sudden we're on the inside of our rival of Joey Logano, and he was helping push me through the corners as I just drive right on through the 99 of Sam Mayer. But now on the front straightaway on lap 58, I make it 3 wide again with Kyle Larson, and we pass him, and now we're up to P25. Logano sideways behind us now as we're right behind Noah Gragson. Unfortunately, as we go down into turn 3, Hamlin is the lucky dog car, and he's quite a ways ahead here as we come through out of turn 4. A bit of a slip up there, and then on the outside, Noah Gragson blows the right front tire into the wall. He goes, caution comes out, but unfortunately, we're not in position to get the lucky dog. So we're 24th, 2 spots below the lucky dog position. So everybody is staying out here. Of course, we're staying out and just hope that somehow, some way, we can get the lucky dog here. If we do come into the pit lane, we still cannot make it because we just didn't quite run enough laps there to make it to the end of this race. There is a chance that we could potentially save the field, but I just didn't want to risk it now. So we are going to get ready to go green from P24. And now it's a race between myself and Brad Keselowski, who's right in front of us for that lucky dog. So we get back underway, and actually a very slow start for the 41 and a slow start for the 6 now is actually they slow up, and all of a sudden we're actually 4 wide crossing the line to take the green flag as Logano made a move to the outside of his former Penske Racing teammate there. I don't know what in the world caused that, but definitely I don't think I've ever been 4 wide coming to the green flag here for a restart at any race ever in a NASCAR game, maybe other than like NASCAR 15 when the AI was just insane there as we came through. Now though on lap 63 I decided to follow Brad Keselowski, who had actually gotten back past me when I was on the bottom, and I saw he was hauling the mail on the top lane, so I jumped up, followed him, and then I cut down to the bottom and get past Keselowski with a 4 wide move. By the way, we move up into P23. We are now in the lucky dog position, so at this point we're just hoping a caution comes out sooner than later, because if it comes out late we're gonna have very little time to work our way forwards. If we have a caution right now, we still have a chance for a strong finish here at Texas Motor Speedway as we pass Chase Elliott, and then we were running down now the 42 of Tyler Reddick, and in front of us there's the moment we need, the 19 blowing an engine as we come through out of turn 2. Harrison Burton with issues. Bubba Wallace is continuing to follow me, but as we go down this back straightaway into turn 3, we're just hoping that that 19 car causes an incident, and that's exactly what happens. The 19 goes crashing into the outside wall, and sure enough, exactly what we need happens, but no caution comes out. I could not believe that. That 100% should have been a caution. He was still on the track. We came through down into turn 3, the next corner. Everybody slowing up. The 2 of Priest and 45 of Kraus. They're all slamming on the brakes. I all of a sudden pass them. It of course doesn't matter. But now we're still in the lucky dog position as we came through to lap 69. Nice, but overall just extremely frustrated because that clearly should have been a caution. Now on lap 73. 12 laps to go. I let Bubba Wallace go on the inside because he's on the lead lap going for a win. He's extremely fast. I let Daniel Suarez go, and then I realized all of a sudden, oh wait, we're racing Daniel Suarez for the lucky dog position. I thought he was actually in 3rd place going for the win too, so then I'm trying to get a move back on with it, but then actually Suarez plans to come into the pit lane this time by, so we're going to give him the room, stay to the outside. I of course have no other option than to stay out as long as possible. Unfortunately, though, it did not work. On lap 77, we're forced to come into the pit lane along with the 14 of Chase Briscoe as I make a mistake coming into the pit lane, and we're sideways, and we're actually going to crash into the pit lane, and that just made this terrible, terrible luck of a race get even worse. No caution comes out because we were on the pit lane. Fortunately, we did not damage the car because it happened after the AI was in control. So we just put 2 tires on the car to get us to the end of this race, and we actually surprisingly didn't lose a whole lot of time, which I found weird. So we would get back going now here on lap 78, and now we're not in the lucky dog position anymore because the guys that pitted before us were able to get in front of us, and then of course it didn't help that I crashed the car into the pit lane as well. So 2 things added on to those guys getting in front of us. So now we're down P26, and 22nd I think is where we need to be to get the lucky dog. So at this point there's nothing we can really do, and sure enough, out of turns 4, a huge hit for the 3 of Austin Dillon, who goes crashing head on into the outside while the McLaren of Eric Jones piles in, and then the 29 of Cole Custer is involved, the 40 of Timmy Hill, and the caution comes out once more here from Texas Motor Speedway, and this time it's going to set us up actually for overtime. And Noah Gregson's going to be giving up the lead. He was trying to make it to the end there. He is now forced into the pit lane, and that will give Bubba Wallace and 2311 Racing the whole front row as Bubba Wallace and Derek Kraus are P1 and P2 for now 2 laps to go, and we still find ourselves down in P26. What a whirlwind of a race. Terrible luck because that speeding penalty just came down to the car running out of fuel. And then, of course, there should have been a crash when we were in the lucky dog position that brought out a caution. No caution came out, and then we lose the lucky dog position under the pit cycle, and then a caution comes out. So it was so bad of a race here for us here in Texas Motor Speedway. We knew it was going to be rough, but obviously if that speeding penalty didn't happen, if we didn't get trapped a lap down, it would have been a completely different outcome. But now the story is on Bubba Wallace into turns 3 and 4. He leads away now. Briscoe into 2nd, Bowman into 3rd. A terrible restart for Derek Kraus as we exit turns 4 up to 24th place. White flag in the air for Bubba Wallace and 2311 Racing. Bubba looking for his first career win. 2311 looking for their first career win as a race team. Hamlin and Michael Jordan co-own that team together. Both would love to pick up the win here today in Texas. Bubba Wallace leads the way down the back straightaway. If Bubba wins this race, it shakes up the playoff grid even more, and he leads the way into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. They've been close multiple times before, but today they're finally going to seal the deal. Bubba Wallace and 2311 Racing come through to hold off Chase Chase Briscoe for the win in Texas Motor Speedway as we come through to cross the line for an extremely disappointing 24th place finish here. As well, we were at least in the lucky dog position as we came through to cross the line. But overall, what a disappointing day is 2311, by the way, both in the top 5 with Bubba winning his first career race. Very excited to see him finally pick up that first career win here in the career mode. But, I mean, overall, that's going to be another huge shakeup for the playoff grid, and you're about to see exactly what I'm talking about. That now means only 3 drivers can get in on points so far here on the Cup Series playoff grid, and we still have quite a ways left to go. You saw the Truck Series grid, you see the Xfinity Series grid, you saw the Legend Series grid, I believe, as well. Sheldon Creed and Gutierrez, the last few drivers, as well as Half and Magnussen in on points there. On the Xfinity side, there is a Legend Series grid right there. So we are currently inside the playoffs by about 6 points. Elliott, we're tied with actually there as he runs P8, but here is the playoff grid going into Pocono. So we still have, 10 races left in the regular season, and there's only 3 spots in on points. And with so many different winners, we might be 4th in the overall standings, but we are only 18 points above the cut line after Bubba Wallace picks up the victory. Think about that for a second. We're 4th in the overall standings, but without a win, we're only 18 points above the cut line because of how many different winners we've had. It's going to be a tough fight to the end of this one. If you guys enjoyed it, you know what to do. I'd, of course, like to say a thank you to the Going Racing members here on the channel of MJ, Joseph 9001, Timothy Arline, Bubba Jr., Brett Durward, Dark Gengar Gaming, AJ Vasur, Russell Dixon, Kenneth Barnett, as well as Dana 9302. Thank you guys once again so much for your continued support. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully we can turn things around in the next episode of the Tricky Triangle and hopefully pick up a win there at Pocono. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.